Ms. Radewagen, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman Takano and Ranking Member Dr. Rowe, for holding this hearing. I want to thank the panel for being here. I also want to welcome my constituent, Ms. Lisa Tuato'o, who's all the way in from American Samoa on Homeland Security business. I appreciate everyone's work here to ensure that the Mission Act implementation is going smoothly. And as I've mentioned in previous hearings, I also appreciate that the VA is really making an effort to meet the unique needs of those in rural areas as well as the U.S. territories through the community care contracts. So my question is for anyone on the panel who can answer. What is the status of the community care network contracts? And what are you doing to ensure that the transition from the PC3 choice contracts to the CCN contracts will be as seamless as possible for veterans, community providers, and VA staff? And also, what do you think are the major differences between the current PC3 choice contract and the CCN contract that members should be aware of?
So the status of the contracts are as follows. Region 1 in the northeast part of the United States is in the process of implementation with Optum, as you heard previously. The major difference in that contract is a stable payment levels tied to Medicare. And so I think that that's the major change, as well as probably about 140 other data points that we've walked through with the vendor as we've gone forward in improvements in how we interact with each other, and we'd be happy to lay those out for you in separate session. Region 2 and 3 are under protest. They were awarded and then protested. We anticipate in the month of May they will come out of protest. Certainly I would not suppose what the effect is of the protests, but we are hopeful. Region 4 will award in the next few months. Those bids are back in. That is the western half of the United States. Those bids are all in and being evaluated, and I probably should say nothing more about that at this point. Region 5, Alaska, we just finished tribal consultations, and will implement the further either RFIs or RFP over the next year. And then Region 6 will also, we have consultations, an industry day actually tomorrow in Region 6 that will begin to look at what the questions of the provider community are in providing care in the Pacific.
Thank you. USDS alleges that the additional administrative burden of continuing to pursue new contract arrangements outweigh their benefit. Do you agree? Why or why not?
So I do not agree. And as a matter of fact, they refer in their report to maybe we should use Medicare. Well, please remember that Medicare uses third-party administrators. Medicare does not deliver care directly. I spent most of my career in the upper Midwest. I dealt with Blue Cross of Illinois as the Medicare adjudicator of payment of claims. So I think that criticism reflects a failure to understand Medicare and how it reports, and I'm not being pejorative in any way towards U.S. Digital Services, but that concept just didn't bear fruit. I think the second thing they suggested is maybe we got to use TRICARE. And please remember that I spent 25 years in uniform, so I know a little bit about TRICARE, and certainly have been a consumer of TRICARE services over my family's time in service, and even today. The problem with the regional delivery systems with TRICARE is they are centered in areas of the country that just are not broad enough in order for us to take care of the dispersed veterans as we look in the Pacific, as we look in Alaska, and in the rural areas of this country. 45% of our veterans are out in rural areas, well aware from TRICARE delivery networks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back the balance of my time.